You will be earning 1 CEU of credit for this webinar, so please make sure you fill out that webinar survey you'll be receiving to your email. Get that back to us so we can send you your certificate, which you will then upload into the registry. Okay, it's about time to get started. Welcome and good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about networking for CHWs with 2 very special guests. The first is Miss Felicia Lane, who has been a community health worker in the state of Michigan for almost 30 years at Henry Ford Health Systems. And she also participates in the WIN Network, which is Women Inspired Neighborhood Network. In addition, we have Shannon Lieski. She is the principal at Everyday Life Consulting, as well as the president of the Rural Community Health Worker Network. So a big warm welcome to the both of them. We're going to get started now. So Nicole, if you'd like to start recording, if you haven't already done so, and Shannon, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Thank you. And welcome everyone. Let's hope this goes well, right? First presentation of 2021. So happy New Year. And I hope everyone is well and healthy and excited for this new year. Felicia and I, we're really appreciated to be on this opportunity and love the connection we have with MiCHWA. And what we'd like to do, and we do this with most of our presentations, is start with kind of a warm up. We want to get to know you guys. We want to get you guys used to engaging with us. We don't want this to be a didactic conversation. So when we had presented this briefly with the MiCHWA annual conference last year, our icebreaker was, share with us your favorite childhood game. So just real simple, unmute yourself, tell us who you are real quick, and what's your favorite childhood game? And I know we've got a fairly large group, so don't be shy, but this usually goes pretty quickly. So I'd like to start.
Charla Ryder. My name is Charla Ryder, and I am a community health worker at the Ingham County Health Department. I'm in the Strong Start Healthy Start program, and my favorite childhood game was Crash Bandicoot on one of them programs. I don't know. We played on PlayStation. So yeah, Crash. That's what I like with. That's it. That's all I have.
Wonderful. Welcome. Who else?
My name's Brittany. I'm a CHW from Cass Family Clinic, and one of my favorite games was Twister when I was younger.
I like that one too as well. How about you, Miss Felicia?
I wanted to say thank you and welcome all for coming. Oh, wow. Childhood. You know what I like? The batting ball. Boy, I can really do a batting ball. I would do it until it break and get another one. And I still like doing that now too, though. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, this is Inger Blair. I have so many childhood games that I played, but one that popped up in my head was hide and seek. I used to love playing hide and seek. Yeah. And I'm from Detroit Health Department.
Oh, okay.
Welcome. I'll roll off yours. So I liked playing flashlight tag. So growing up in the country, and we were just always in the woods. So you had to play it in the dark, which was always kind of scary, but it was a ton of fun to get all the neighborhood kids involved. And I have to say, kind of a silver lining for us and as a family, I have teenage kids. During COVID is some of those activities were safe, and it was a way for them to interact with people we knew without having close contact. Who else?
I'll go next. My name is Sarah Cheek and I'm from the Disability Network. Good morning, Shannon. And I loved playing spoons. So it's like a card game with plastic spoons, and I've taught all of my kids how to do it. And now it gives everybody in the family anxiety to play it if we mention it during the holidays or whatnot.
Oh, how much fun. And hi, Sarah. It's good to see you. I love your mask. For anybody who doesn't know, Sarah makes masks and they're phenomenal. So you need to go into business doing masks because it's definitely been my favorite through this experience.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful. Anyone?
Hi there. My name is Arnold. I may work with Priority Health out of Kent County and then Ottawa and Ionia as well. And my favorite childhood game growing up, I would have to give it up to Pokemon. Loved playing all the Pokemon series, as many as I could play, get my hands on. I was all about it.
Oh, wow. That was popular too.
Great, great. I got time for one or two more.
I'll go. I'm Jennifer Ferrari. I'm from or with the Family Centers of Michigan, and we are located in the Temperance office. And I guess I would have to say my favorite game growing up, I was the only female out of all boy cousins, and we played football. And that was probably my favorite.
Welcome, Jennifer. I know you as well, so it's good to see you. Happy New Year. And football, yeah, that's a good one. I grew up with all boy cousins as well. Couple dozen. So now I think back, I'm like, my daughter has it hard too, because when I married into my husband's family, they said there's all boys. I did not believe them until I saw that my daughter's the only girl out of like 40 cousins, ranging between like birth and 18. And obviously we haven't seen any of them in a very long time, it seems like now, but interesting dynamics.
Yeah, I have to add that all the boy cousins now have all female children and all female grandchildren except for one grandson. So
wow, what a transition. What a transition.
Yeah, I think it's great. The little boy will be in makeup and stuff, and because he's the only boy with all the girls.
Well, wonderful. And I hope all of you guys, as we go on with this presentation, definitely take opportunity to get on. When you speak, tell us who you are and where you're from. This whole conversation and what Felicia and I are trying to create today is a space to start building connections. We, in our work as community health workers, have found that to be the most valuable aspect of the work we do. It's going to not only help you with avoiding burnout, but it's going to just help really enhance the work that you do. And we have so many opportunities here in Michigan. We are truly lucky to have all those opportunities. And we want to make sure that hopefully this is the starting point of getting you guys connected with one another and with the network.
Exactly.
So today we'll go over just our brief learning objectives, right? So as Portia mentioned, this webinar is going to be valued at 1 CE. So you'll be wanting to upload that certificate into your registry account to help work on those to maintain your certification. Today's learning objectives, we're going to describe and go through kind of the nuts and bolts of what a network is, strategies of how you're building your network, value of networking, and then some experiences, share with us from the field. Because as you know, as community health workers, we are learning through popular education models. And we want to hear from each and one of your experiences to add value to this conversation and the content that we will leave behind for those who watch the recording. I always like to begin and kind of center us in who we are as community health workers. You might not be surprised, but I often meet community health workers who are not familiar with the definition. And so I always like to put us back to this point. Our Michigan Community Health Worker Alliance, in addition to our national associations and our rural association, are all adopted this language. So it is from the American Public Health Association. And it's a community health worker is a frontline public health worker who is trusted. They're a member of their community, often having an unusually close understanding of that community they served. So think of like lived experience. This trusting relationship, this is what's going to enable that CHW to serve as a link, a liaison, an intermediary, bridging that gap between health and social services in the community to facilitate access to services, hopefully improve the quality and the cultural competence of that service delivery system. Community health worker also builds individual and community capacity by increasing the knowledge, self-sufficiency through a range of activities that could be outreach, education, informal counseling, social support, advocacy, you name it, and one of the other pieces that I know is not listed here, but I often find in my work as community health worker is building self-efficacy, right? We're helping our community members that we serve to have the confidence and the self-efficacy. And hopefully through this networking with each other, we're building each other's self-efficacy as well, because sometimes we're the ones carrying that voice, and we're put in a position and trusted to do that. Any additions there, Miss Felicia? Because I know it's kind of a mouthful, but.
No, you said it. That's basically what we are. And we life changers, and we change people's lives. And so I just want everyone to just remember that point too. But,
So what is a network? You know, when we think about that, a network, you know, is defined as a group or system of interconnections between people or things. You know, this is our connection to maybe an exchange of information, or a connection to develop professional contacts, develop professionally, you know, as far as education and knowledge, and or social connections. So think back to some examples. I'd like to hear from a few of you on, what do you currently do to network? What does this mean to you to network? I do see faces, and I'm not afraid to call on people.
Hi, I'm Annie from the Grand Rapids Red Project. And my favorite game when I was growing up was just grabbing stuff and playing pretend, you know, like a rake and somebody's hat and your mom's boots or whatever, and using our imagination. So networking for me, I'm very introverted, so I don't do a ton of this personally or professionally as much as I should. But for me, it means stopping in, if you can, in person. It's really hard to do during a pandemic. But just the other day, I stopped into a free clinic to pick up a donation of medical supplies for our agency, and then drop off some safer sex supplies for their agency, you know, as a thank you. But being there to meet somebody in person and get to know, like, what do they do at their organization, and who is this person, you know, face to face or eye to eye. That's where you start building a relationship and connection, and kind of, you know, who would you contact when you're trying to outreach or coalition build or plan an event with your community partners, because people are more likely to check that email or that message and respond if they've actually met you. So I find like that makes a big difference in terms of relationship building and sort of the reciprocity that goes with that. And then checking in with people, you know, when there's an event for celebrating, when there's an event for mourning, you know, checking in with the people that you work with to see, to celebrate their joys and to support them when there is loss.
Thank you for sharing, Annie. Those are all great ones. I was taking notes as you were speaking. You know, key takeaways that I heard from you is building a relationship, right? And sometimes that is face-to-face, whether we're doing it like we are right now, or we are just popping in to say that you care, right? You care about your relationship when you transform mutual beneficial opportunities, whether it's an exchange of information or it's an exchange of giveaways, right? Because we're servicing the same clients, you know, the same individuals. And then that check-in and affirmation. You know, when we think about our social contacts, you know, 2020, right? That, if anything, hopefully taught us that checking in is important. People appreciate it. And that whether you're checking in with a positive affirmation or you're checking in because you need just to get something off your chest, that's what the importance of these networks. You know, and when we build different types of networks, as we talked about, you know, each of us, just even like in our social groups, right? We have our friends and family, we might have our faith-based community, we might have, like, I have a running group that I'm part of. You know, we have these different kind of identities that lean us towards different networks. We also, here in Michigan have a community health worker. Yeah, go ahead. I heard someone chiming in. And so connecting with our community health worker, especially in challenging times, or if you have a really great success story, nobody's going to be able to celebrate that best with you than another community health worker who is in that current work.
Yeah, this is Felicia, and I love everything that what you said, Miss Brittany. And also, have you ever heard of it's not what you know, it's who you know? And it's kind of like being in the right place at the right time. Those are two things about networking. But it's not like a one size fit all, so to speak. Everybody got their own little niche about networking and going up to people. Now, I'm a type of person that people say, well, Felicia, they say, well, what's she doing? We'll go somewhere. And they say, she work in the room. And I just go up to everybody and say, hey, how you doing? And I tell them who I am and stuff. But then some people are not comfortable with that. And sometimes they kind of laid back. But once you know your niche, or once you know you discover your style, the network becomes easy to you. And I just wanted to add that to there. Mm-hmm.
Great addition, Felicia. Yeah, that, it's not a one size fits all, and there are multiple ways to network, and we need multiple kind of people and the way that they do it in a room. That's how a network is created. It's created based off of, differences and similarities. And so that's a really important piece to add. Thank you, Felicia. And everyone who had shared. When we go back to kind of the principles behind it, so networks are defined into 3 different categories. So we have operational, we have personal, and we have strategic. So when we talk about our operational networks, this is really where we are networking and we're building our relationships, most likely inside your organization, right? How are you networking? As Felicia works at Henry Ford, how does she network within Henry Ford? How is Sarah networking within Disability Network? How are we networking in our company to get work done, right? Because we can't be all things to all people, and we're going to need to rely on those internal resources. And what I like to say, link inward, look inward first, right? As if someone's coming to you for a specific resource, I'll leave an easy example, a bus pass. They need transportation to X. What resources and supports can you provide internally and network with before reaching outward? An example, would also be like marketing, right? Building relationships, letting people know who you are, creating messaging strategies. It's often misunderstood who we are as community health workers, right? And I would imagine that even the other roles that exist within your organization, we might not know all that we know about them so that we can effectively network. So one great way that I found over the years to do that is to have brief introduction meetings. I get to be known for that. Anybody that I meet, I always want to pause and have an isolated moment to get to know them. And it sometimes talks about work. Sometimes we end up talking about our kids. I mean, you never know where the conversation is going to go, but taking a moment to network at your place of work. Personal networking is a little bit of the opposite, right? This is where you are doing this outside of work. So we gave the example of a faith-based community or the running group. Where are you connecting in your community that gives you that personal connection, that personal networking? This is one too that helps to self-develop you as a professional. So you think about how you want to grow and develop in the work that you're doing and where you see yourself headed. This one, much more pre-COVID, but I think of like the young professional networks or your Chamber of Commerce, or, MiCHWA, right? That's your professional association in Michigan, being able to professionally develop. The third one is strategic networking, and this often is about enlisting support people. So in the work that we do as community health workers, this is making sure I'm building my partnership with that person I refer to the most, right? If I'm constantly referring to the food pantry or the local federally qualified health center, I want to make sure I'm on a first name basis. And I know that was mentioned, right? You know, Annie, you had said, like, you got to get to know that person and you need to understand and value their contributions too. What's in it for them? Don't go at it as a what's in it for me and what I need to accomplish. Think about that mutual benefit. Why would they partner with me? Why would they want to hear what I have to say? And how do we develop that relationship through that mutual benefit? So sometimes, you know, it might be that I have, so one nonprofit that I've helped to work with, they have the ability to deliver individual X, right? Whether it's a food commodity, it's a mattress, they have the ability to mobilize and deliver. They partner with another organization that has the educational materials. We're like, perfect. If we're delivering a food distribution, why wouldn't it help to have additional supports put in there? Or if someone then donated toilet paper, well, let's put toilet paper in it, because we all know in 2020, that was hard to come by and it needs to be in anything we think of handing out. And so just some things to consider, right? You know, operationally, think inward. I'm in my company. Personal, it's more of a full development of who you are. And then strategic is for like a specific purpose. You know, I'm trying to find food for my patient or my client. Where am I going to find that? And how do I make that a sustainable system so it's easier for me and I'm not recreating the wheel every time I go to do that referral?
Yeah. and just to piggyback on Ms. Shannon, I work at Henry Ford Health System. And in the beginning, it was called Sew Up the Safety Net. But we had to find the pregnant moms. And so we started like with 0. And so you have to develop networking in the community. You have to develop an elevator speech, so to speak, you know. So we would go up to people, look like they pregnant, and say, oh, wow. Hello, hi, my name is Felicia Lang. I work for Henry Ford Health System, Sew Up the Safety Net program, and we can assist you. We provide resources. And I had a little thing I would say, if you need clothes, cribs, diapers, or food. And it had to be real quick because people be like, okay. Now, as community health workers, we have that special niche. We can do that. But everybody can't go up into people's face, strangers, and ask them about everything. And then they tell us, well, no, I'm homeless. I don't have any clothes. I'm pregnant. Blah. So we have a special gift because everybody can't go up to people. Because my brother said, are you serious? Are you truly about to go up there and ask that lady that? And I do. So that's networking with your community, people that you don't know.
I love that example, Felicia, you know, and it really is at the heart of what we do as community health workers is our networking and our unique skill set is finding the hard to reach, right? You work for a company, Felicia, I know where you work, right, in particular, right? Henry Ford has a program designed around, you know, helping moms and pregnant women, and your job is to find them, right? There are other community health workers where they're working for an association that has a health plan contract and they need to find people who are disconnected from care. So we're navigating, we're networking, and building that community-based network is a strategic network, right? But it can also be a social one because at some extent you're going to become trusted and adopted into that social network and community. But it's very, very valuable. And it's a unique skill set that CHWs have that I encourage you to practice and grow and recognize that what you're doing, there's a specific, you know, objective for it, and people trust you to do it, and your companies depend on you to do it, right? That's why they hired you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just also, when you think about networking, it's different styles for different people. Now, I might have that elevator speech in the community, but you might have co-workers that work in different programs, and they might want to know what you do. But once you tell them what you do, you might tell it in a different way, but you still get it across to them. And then they're just like, oh yeah, oh, okay, well, all right. So I tell you what, if I know any pregnant moms or anything and stuff, I'll give them your number. So just remember, it's like different strokes for different folks, so to speak, but it's still networking all in one to get and building relationships with the community outside of your organization and building relationships with the people inside your organization.
I know we asked, Felicia and I asked you guys this question before we described the networks. You know, how are you building your network? How are you connecting? I want to give another opportunity for a few more folks to share, you know, as you're hearing this, you know, Felicia gave that example specific to, as a CHW, how she's networking with the WIN network. Tell us some others.
Hi, this is Al.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was going back to the calculator. Anyway, I go to the veterans. I work mainly with veterans, and I go to the Veterans Coalition at Traverse City, and that's where I start building my network. Excuse me.
Yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent.
Good morning. This
I
is
guess you.
Octavia. Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. This is Octavia from Inkster, Western Wayne Family Health Center.
Good morning.
Just to say, the other ways that I get the word out in the community, other than through Western Wayne Family Health Center, is that I am a part of Wayne County Community Champions, where we send out major resources to anyone that need them. And I also am a member of the Inkster Task Force of Michigan Inkster Chamber of Commerce. So when I do get information, I try to send it out to not just one entity, but to as many entities as I can.
Good. Excellent, excellent. Anybody else want to add how they might network in a organization or out of the organization?
We started a group at Priority Health. I work for Priority Health, and we have different groups that do Medicaid and then Medicaid, Medicare. And so we started a group of all CHWs that we meet on a monthly basis. And what we've started doing is asking other organizations to come in and share what they have to offer, how members can get connected, because obviously in this time we can't go into those organizations. So having them come on our teams meeting and share the information and get us the information has been great.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Anybody else would like to share?
Hi, my name is Inger Blair, and
Ms. Blair?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Felicia. How you doing? And
All
everybody
right.
else. I'm with the Detroit Health Department Led program, and I am also a part of the D-Led, which is the Detroit Led parent support, parents and grandparents who have children who have been lead exposed. And so working with that organization, we used to do face-to-face meetings pre-COVID, but now we do Zoom meetings. And I also work with a lot of different healthcare providers and medical nurses as well. And I kind of spread that information out both professionally in the one-on-one with my peers, and then also keep communications open with the parents and grandparents that I work with, and anybody that I know. I'm a people person, and so if someone said, well, what do you do for the health department, I'm always willing to share and let them be aware of what I do.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And that's what it's about, relationships. I'm sorry, we got time for someone else would like to share, because we're learning from each other. And like Shannon said, she's taking notes. And if you see me looking down, I'm taking notes too. So thank you for sharing. Anybody else? I turn it back over to Miss Shannon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for sharing. You know, Al, your connection with the veterans, you know, that one can go either way, right? For you, it could be a social network. It could also be a strategic network, you know, depending on your lived experience with that community. And it's a great way to build relationships. I know the few others, you know, that you guys had mentioned made me think of the virtual connection, right? So much of what we did or previously, you know, might have been a mix of virtual or in person. It might have only been in person. And so it's nice to see this evolution of network building and acceptedness of doing it virtually. We can make authentic connections and virtually, you know, whether it's through our video conferencing or if we're just old fashioned on the telephone, you know, don't be afraid to make a connection with somebody and make it happen. Because in order to service the individuals that we are trying to service, you know, we have to have a broad network. We have to have a support system. You might specialize in mother and baby. I might specialize in housing. You know, Al might specialize in veterans. You know, together collectively with our collective knowledge, we can specialize in every area because, you know, the old fashioned, like I know somebody, you know, is really important in our networking. And so that's, at least for me, has always been a key takeaway of why I network and why I continue to build my network. You know, Anne brought up early on the check-ins. I check in. So people always say, how do you do this? How do you stay in contact with people all these years? I literally have like a reminder system where I'm like, I haven't talked to that person in a few months, and I'll put it out on my calendar. Or when I talk to them, I always put it out a couple months or a couple weeks, depending on the contact, because in order to maintain that relationship, you have to maintain communication. And you don't want to lose track of that network connection because you never know when you're going to need it, whether professionally, personally, or for somebody that you serve. And so it's really valuable. And thank you all for sharing. When we talk about, you know, like networking strategies, you know, it's kind of our next key topic here. There's 3 strategies for building your network that really come out of a lot of the literature that's out there. And I agree with it based off of my own experience, you know, and many others do as well. But it really centers around focusing on the relationship building. And I know that's been a key theme through our sharing today and our conversations. Build the relationship, be in it for that, not just for the tangible. Don't make it transactional, you know, an exchange of information. Take the opportunity to build a relationship. There are people with whom you will want to connect with. You know, there'll be people that you can only do this by establishing a relationship with them, right? There's often people who are so passionate about people that they serve, they're almost guarded, right? Can we all think of someone that we've tried to connect with in our community and they almost seem closed or guarded? But yet we're all servicing the same people, right? And so we have to think about our approach and how we approach them to make sure that it's not self-serving, right? And that we take the moment to understand what they're doing. I often do this by starting with that. So if I need a mattress for one of the individuals that I'm servicing, for example, the first thing I do when I reach out to a new organization is, you know, introduce who I am. And then I start off with, I would like to learn more about you. Do you have a moment to share? And then I will say, you know, thank you for sharing. I actually have an individual who I think might benefit from our connection. You know, can I tell you more about that? You know, ask permission and share and make sure they have the time, because we are all so busy, right? You just have things firing at you all day long. And so recognize that that person that you're connecting with is in the same boat. Branch into the unknown. So people who know me know I'm pretty, I don't want to say like vanilla, but I'm just pretty straight laced, you know, and in the community that I grew up with, I didn't always have a lot of outside exposures. So I am so culturally curious. I am curious about everything that I don't know anything about. And so I push myself into that unknown, push myself into a space where I want to learn more about it. Whether it be, you know, veterans, right? I'm not a veteran. Whether it be an LGBTQ community, because I have a husband, right? Like branch yourself into these different areas that you're going to learn more about the community you serve, because chances are, you know, our community is very diverse. And some of those shared diversities we will have, right? You know, so Felicia and I connect often just on sharing our own experiences and who we serve, because it helps us build an understanding for when clients like us come into each other's communities. right? Again, going back to that community health worker is from a lived experience lens most often, but that's what we have to go from. Sometimes we have to go from the knowledge and networks we built from our fellow CHW's lived experience.
Yeah.
And then ask how I can help.
Right. Just to add to that and everything, you know, one day, you know, I've been a community health worker a long time, and I went out with the nurse when I was at the health department. And I went into a community and they were living in this abandoned bowling alley. And so me and the nurse and stuff, and I, you know, and I was like, okay, we out here trying to reach the pregnant moms where they at. And you got to be sincere when you networking, you know, because people know when you sincere or not. And so when I came in there and stuff, I had no idea folks was living in an abandoned bowling alley, but she was. And so that gave me a rapport because she said a lot of people wouldn't come in here. And I, you know, and I ain't never been in no abandoned building, but she saw the sincerity in my heart. I wanted to help her and I wanted to get her out of there. So I wanted to just, yeah, when you network, be sincere. People know if you coming up to them because you might want something from them. You know, I had the, you know, that you might want something from them or anything. You know, I had the opportunity to meet Henry Ford's grandson. And remember I said you had the right place, be in the right place at the right time. And so I went up there and I said, hi, how you doing? He said, fine. And I told him, I like your grandfather. And he said, I liked him too. And we laughed. And I told him where I work. And he was so kind. And he said, it looks like you like what you do. And I told him I do. He said, okay, you wanted a family. He saw the sincerity, because I didn't go up there asking him for no money or anything like that, though. But he saw the sincerity that I just wanted to meet him and say that I liked his grandfather. So be sincere and be a good listener. Be a good listener when you're networking. Because when you listen to a person, you'll pick up some things. And then they might tell you, I sit on the board. Or they might tell you, I know so-and-so. But you pick up those things that you can take with you. And then be at the end of the conversation, they might say, well, if you need some diapers, because, you know, I work also with Walmart and I can get you a deal. So be a good listener and pick up those and tune into your listening skills. So those was the two things that I wanted to add. Thank you, Ms. Shannon, for allowing me.
No, thank you, Ms. Felicia. That great value add, right? So be sincere. You know, that's when we talk about the how I can help, go at it from more what's in it for the other person than what's in it for you. Being a good listener. The other one that I say a lot too, don't be robotic.
My direct line, probably.
You know, don't be transactional, because people are going to feel that and see that. They're going to be much less receptive, not only to you, but the organization you represent, right? You bring that image into that environment. So for our community health workers that are trying to connect people inward into your organization, know that you're representing that image and that experience. And that's a lot to bear, but at the same time, you know, it's such a privilege for you to be able to do that on both sides.
I just want to iterate. We have some people commenting in the chat. We don't want to overlook them. Miss Portia or Miss Nicole is handling the chat box. I think, can she hear me? Or Shannon? Those that's commenting in the chat, we don't want to overlook you.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that now. Yeah. Great reminder. Thank you. So we've got, participating. Claudia, thank you for sharing. Participating in activities at conferences and networks are some examples there too. And then I know Nicole's responding to everybody. Thank you so much for manning that, Nicole.
Thank you.
Another one, you know, I think that often personal networking can lead to resources for people we serve, right? our personal networks. Do not overlook them, and we've given lots of examples, and I know there's many, many more. So thank you, Sue, for that. Working and volunteering. Yep, it's another one.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
We've been having great conversation here in the chat.
Excellent. Yeah, just to pick it, volunteering is one of the excellent networking. Sometimes that leads to employment when you volunteer. And it's like, oh yeah, you do that? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be hiring a community health worker soon, or we're going to be hiring someone. So volunteering is excellent. Anybody else had any experience with that? When they volunteered and it led to something?
I volunteer totally at Peace Ranch up in Traverse City.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have is I work with the veterans and substance abuse.
Okay.
And and then I, like I said before, I network with the Veterans Coalition up there.
Okay.
And supposedly it'd be starting a vet group in Baldwin. I'm in Lake County, and there's not much of anything in Lake County.
Okay.
As far as networking.
Mm-hmm. But you find that volunteering, when you network with the veteran and get to know someone, and someone knows somebody else.
Yeah. Octavia Smith, you got your hand up. Go right ahead.
Yes, I did want to share, because that's one of the reasons why I am a community health worker. The National Kidney Foundation was in the city of Inkster doing a whole lot of programming, and everybody was talking about that Octavia girl. She know how to get some resources, so they were always talking about what I done, down through the years, and so they approached me back in 2011, and they said, we done heard your name. We done heard, what you do in this community, and we want to offer you a job. And so from then, 2011 until now, 2012 is when I took the CHW course and became a CHW with a certificate. I had been grandfathered into the CHW program since then, and it's what I do, and it's what I love to do, and that's my story. Thank you.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And all through volunteering, and someone heard you, and you had resources, and you knew how to get it. And look at you now. You're helping other people in the community and reaching out to other families. So that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
Sarah Cheek. Oh, sorry. This is Sarah Cheek from Disability Network. I actually volunteered for a, if I remember right, it was like the March of Dimes type of volunteer walk, and the Disability Network reached out to me for this job. So now I became CHW certified to go into nursing facilities and help people transition back into the community. So I'm really grateful for that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, back to like your point, Miss Felicia, right place, the right time, and your openness, right? Be open to it, and you never know when that call to action is going to happen. I know for me, my heart is always in community health work, whether I'm employed as a community health worker or I'm volunteering with various programs. Part of the work that you can do too as a community health worker in your networking is being part of committees that support the work you do. MiCHWA has a variety of committees. Join them and share your voice and experience. One of the ones that brought me to the work that I do now, right, with Everyday Life Consulting, was someone said, much like Octavia, you're always navigating. You seem to know a resource for everything, and we need that. We are building a community response system. What do you think about designing a clinical community linkage system for Michigan? And I was like, I can contribute, and I know a lot of people who can contribute too, but don't be shy from those experiences or opportunities that knock at your door, and know that, a community health worker it's who you are as a person. Nobody's going to take that away, but you can still add value to that professional network wherever you are at, because it's within you. and recognize as we go into talking and continuing talking about benefits of networking, that no man is on an island, right? We are not alone. That's why we need to have our networks. As human beings, we will thrive on our relationships and our connections and our support system. And so we want to make sure that we're doing that. So I'm just changing the slides, but continue to share on your value of your networking.
Why did you network? Anybody else would like to share anything?
Well, this is Octavia. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I kind of scrolled through the participants and I see, and it makes my heart so happy. Some of the people, Miss Marta, Miss Felicia, people I started with, you know, and it's just making me so happy just to see people who I've been on this trail with for so long.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I understand. And listen, I see you too in picture, beautiful picture. A beautiful picture. You know, we are unique people, and I don't know if they have my slide of two people that I admire. That's Henry Ford and George Washington Carver. And George Washington Carver and Henry Ford was best friends. And when I met his grandson, he had told me that. He said, because I had told him I like them both. And he said, you know, they were best friends. I said, yeah, I heard they were best friends. And it kind of like bring up to what's going on today and everything. And I look at both of them and they put their difference aside. They put their color aside for the betterment of the future. And that's what George Washington said. He said, we have to put our difference aside for the betterment of the future. And look at it. I don't even know how I could not even have a car. Okay. And look at the legacy that Henry Ford left and the legacy that George Washington Carver left. I mean, he developed many things and we're using today, flowers, stuff in the paint industry, things to do with sunflowers. And you see how they can work together then. And community health workers, if you don't leave this workshop with anything else, when you go out into your family, into the community, just tell them, if these two men can work together for the betterment of us, then why can't we put our difference aside and work for the betterment of our children? And that's what community health workers are all about, making the community better. And I just wanted to say two quotes. One quote from George Washington Carver. He said, where there is no vision, there is no hope. And that is what each and every one of you do. You give your families hope when you network with people, when you network with the community, when you go in their homes, you're giving them hope. And Henry Ford said, coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. And working together is success. And that's what we're all about. Community health workers, you're special people. And you're making the community better. And just go and keep doing what you're doing. And just have my two heroes in mind when you do it, Henry Ford and George Washington Carver. Thank you very, very much. I know I just wanted to say that. And we want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out in the morning. And you have to excuse me because the maintenance man came in right at the time. So excuse me for that little distraction. But we want to hear from you. And I know Shannon want to allow time for each and every one of you to leave us with some words of thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone out there. You know, all of our community health workers. We know that this work is tough. We walk in your shoes. You know, it might not be every day, but we feel where you're at, and you have a support system. Even as Octavia shouted out, right? Like, this is a lineage. We know we keep the relationships going, and know that we're always here for you as peers. And we hope that you share the same sentiment. So thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
This is Portia from MiCHWA. I just wanted to say that if there's anyone that you would like to network with who is currently in the meeting, you can always go to the chat and then change the message from everyone in the chat to that particular person. So if there's someone that you see that you know that you'd like to touch base with or get reacquainted with, or if there's someone you'd like to talk to personally or maybe exchange email addresses, go ahead and go to the chat. All the way down at the bottom, you can change the receiver or the recipient to the name of the person that you're interested in talking to. And when you send that message, it will just go out to them. Thank you.
Okay.
We have just about 5 minutes left. We'd like to leave time for questions and for sharing. Portia, I do have the MiCHWA slide for like our call to action, but I don't know if you have it as well, or a way that you want to highlight that so we leave people with how to get connected.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to share in the chat a link to complete the survey at the end of this webinar. And then other ways to get connected with us are on our website. So if you go to MiCHWA, MiCHWA.org, you'll be able to see our brand new website. We have lots of exciting new things up there. As of the end of last year, we also have a brand new member registry. So for those of you who are currently members, you can go inside the registry. You have a great opportunity to network with your fellow CHWs, as well as some of our partner organizations and allies. If you go into your profile, a great way to network with others is to add a photo, which is now possible in our new registry, whereas it wasn't before. And then you can also add a little bit about yourself, personal information, and there's a unique feature where you can toggle whether or not you're interested in new employment opportunities, which can only be viewed by our employer organizations and not by anyone else in the registry. So those are lots of opportunities to get connected. Also, we have some leadership opportunities at MiCHWA that involve being a member of one of our committees or work groups. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can always email me. It's P Fisher, I'll put it in the chat, at MiCHWA.org or info@MiCHWA.org. And we have a variety of work groups as far as spreading the word about CHWs in your community and beyond. We have work groups if you're interested in the development of curriculum and training programs. We have policy work groups where we try to implement policies that help create CHW recognition and sustainability throughout the state of Michigan. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know.
Hi, everybody. This is Janae. I just wanted to say that if you're interested in one CEU credit, please complete the survey. The link is in the chat. We will not email it out to registrants. It's in the chat now. I think I sent it twice, but it's in there right now at 10:55 a.m. Please go ahead and click it there so you can receive your one CEU credit and give us 2 to 3 business days to get it back to you. Please go ahead and click that now.
And Janae is our rock, and she's so humble. And for those that do not know, can you introduce who you are?
Miss Felicia. I'm trying to be incognito. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Janae Tyus. I'm the Executive Director for the Michigan Community Health Worker Alliance. I hope that you appreciated this webinar featuring our fearless CHW advisor and my backbone, Miss Felicia and Shannon Lieski. She's one of our amazing training partners. We want to encourage you to not only network amongst yourself, but with our organization. As if you know me, you know I welcome and appreciate and invite your voice everywhere within our organization. So I just wanted to let you know that we have recorded this, we will post this, and we welcome your feedback, and make sure you go ahead and fill out this survey. and email any one or all of us at any time, and we would be happy to serve and respond to you as soon as we can. Is that enough for you, Miss Felicia?
Yeah. She's so modest. She could say more and more though, but I just want to say she's always has been in our corner since day one. And, you know, I was watching Star Trek one day and, you know, Miss Janae has taken us beyond community health workers can go where no man have gone and no community health worker has gone. She is truly our leader and she is truly our rock. And I really appreciate God sending her to us. And thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. And I thank everybody. Thank all of you for what you're doing. It's hard times for people out here. And community health workers, you're making a difference. You're keeping people whole. A lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people don't even know where their next meal comes. And then here comes the community health worker with a resource of where they can get food. So keep up the good work that you're doing. And thank you. I hope you learned something. I hope we didn't waste your time. And thank you very much for being who you are. Shannon, I'll turn it back over to Shannon.
I think you closed us out nicely. Again, thank you guys for all joining. You have contact information. Portia knows how to get into contact either with Felicia or myself as well. If you have additional questions, we are all here and available and willing to help make connections or be connected with you. So,
okay, great. Shannon, if you'd like to unshare your screen, everyone, if you'd like to take off your mute for the last minute or so and just say goodbye to each other. Hello, goodbye, thank you. Anything like that.
Can we take a picture?
Bye.
Can we
yes, Janae, can you take a picture?
Can we take a picture?
Yes, stop recording, Nicole.